Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Help for HD TV. Today, we have Melissa on with us, who is not only a caregiver for her husband, who's living with Huntington's, and her daughter that's living with juvenile Huntington's, but she is also a Help for HD International Executive Board member and a huge advocate for the JHD community. So today, we are going to focus on caregiving, and we thought, what a better person to have on with us than Melissa, who caregiving for very different type of symptoms with HD and JHD. So Melissa, I'm going to let you jump in and let's start talking about the difference between caregiving someone with HD compared to caregiving your child with JHD.
I find it easier to care for my daughter that has Huntington's. I think maternal instincts are strong, and I think it's just sometimes natural for us to give for our children. So I think it comes pretty easily for me, whereas with our husbands, who my husband was the head of our family and took care of us and took care of things and fixed things and made sure things were taken care of. And it's hard to see him with the decline, and most recently that he can't shave himself anymore, that he can't cut his fingernails and toenails anymore, and having to step in and do those things for him while still trying not to emasculate him. And it does blur the lines between husband and wife, and it presents its own set of challenges separate as a from a maternal standpoint with your child.
When you're taking care of the household and the family, do you find the balance to be hard? Meaning, if your husband needs something and then if your daughter needs something, and how do you prioritize? Or is it dependent on what they need at the moment, or is it dependent on helping Ava first? And I think I'm asking that because I'm thinking of you mentioned your husband's decline, and is he able to think through the thought of Ava needing help first, or is he wanting to be a priority?
Oh, that's a tough question, as I am learning about how to navigate this myself. It used to be that before Mike was the way that he is now, going through a rapid stage of disease progression, I could count on him a lot more to help with Ava, different things that I need. But now I'm not able to rely on him as much, sadly. And in a way, I hate to use the word triage, but I have to triage who needs what first and see that person's needs are met. And a lot of times right now, because Ava's younger, her needs come first. And I think he's pretty open to recognize that. But there's definitely been changes in terms of him not being able to supervise her as he used to be able to.
Sure.
So
I know when my husband was alive, you try to think of the future, but you try not to think of the future because it's too overwhelming. So you live like one day at a time, right? Do you find that caring for both of them that you do have to look into the future more, or are you really one day at a time, we're going to get through this day?
so it's funny because, again, I was actually just talking with my friend about this, how it can go both ways. So we need, as caregivers, to stay present and stay focused on today in order to get through today and to find the happiness and joy in today. But the thing that we have to do as caregivers, because so much responsibility is on us, is I'm always find myself at least trying to stay one step ahead of this disease. For example, I knew I wanted to get for my daughter a queen size bed for when she was sick, if and I needed that last night. My daughter wasn't feeling well last night, so I was able to sleep up in her room. And a couple months ago, I thought I really should have a bedside commode. She doesn't need a bedside commode right now. Then last night, having the bedside commode was a godsend because she was sick. She could not walk to the bathroom. And so I was able to have everything up there in her room. It still was a difficult night, but it would have been much worse if wouldn't have had those things. I would have either been sleeping on the floor, sleeping on a hard chair. I don't know. But that's always a challenge, is I try to think, what are they going to need for the future, both of them, while staying trying to stay present and enjoy where we're at right now. But it is sad because you do have to think about the future and how things will change. Um, and we all know not for the better, sadly.
What would you say are some of the biggest differences in the day-to-day caregiving responsibilities between your husband and your daughter?
Right now, where we're at, I pretty much have to do everything for Ava, all of her activities of daily living, going to the bathroom, helping her walk, helping her dress, helping her bathe, helping her brush her teeth, helping her eat. All those things I have to do for her. Now, with my husband, he's slowly entering the stage of needing help with those things. Whereas before he was pretty much on his own. But I'd say the main things with my husband right now um, is the whole is cognitively, he needs supervision just because I don't really trust leaving him alone anymore. He can still bathe himself, but again, the shaving, cutting his fingernails, things like that, he's struggling with. And I can tell eating is our next obstacle. So that is getting more and more difficult with him. And I can see that'll be coming to where he's not going to be able to feed himself anymore. And I do think about what meal times are going to look like. Am I going to, I'll sit there and feed one and feed the other at the same time? Or I don't know, we might have to stagger meal times, and I'm not sure, but that's our next journey for sure.
Is there any symptoms with your husband and your daughter that you see as very different?
Yes. I would say my husband has a lot of the apathy, lack of emotion. He doesn't really smile anymore, not being able to understand a lot of humor and sarcasm, things that he used to always find funny, he doesn't laugh at anymore. Whereas my daughter, she still has a phenomenal sense of humor. She makes me laugh every day. A great sense of humor, and still loves sarcasm, and she's very aware, self-aware, which is so amazing. It's bittersweet, but she's very self-aware of everything that's going on with her body and what the disease is doing to her. Whereas with my husband, sometimes I think there's a disconnect there that he's not really seeing sometimes what his limitations are now. He doesn't seem as self-aware. So
So, Melissa, to wrap up the show, can you share with our listeners some techniques or strategies that you would recommend because of the challenges that arise with caregiving for both Mike and Ava?
I would have to say, really and truly, finding a great therapist has been a godsend for me. And also connecting with other people in our community, as so many people on here say, but it really is true. Finding your HD tribe of people that you can rely on and bounce things off of each other. We're the professionals. We're the ones who are dealing with this all the time. The amount of help that I've had from just other community members is indescribable. And also, I think I try to get out of the house every day. So I've been walking every night in the summer, over the summer. Now, as the seasons change, we'll see. It's getting a little more challenging, but just to get out of the house and get some fresh air. It sounds so simple, but it really has done a lot for me. And trying to remember to take care of myself and not feeling guilty for taking care of myself. When we first got our diagnosis, I neglected myself for a good 2.5 years, and it started catching up with me in terms of my health and affecting me. And I realized that if I'm not taking care of myself, I can't take care of them. So that's been a journey that I've been on, is trying to not feel guilty about taking care of myself. And I've slowly started seeing the benefits of that.
I think that's such a challenge. I think we always say caregivers, take care of yourself, right? That's the number one thing. Caregivers, if you get a room of caregivers, you say caregivers, what do we always hear? Caregivers, the whole room would say, take care of yourself. Everyone's heard it.
Yeah.
But none of us know how to do it because I love the walk. The walk is important. Go outside, breathe fresh air. But it's like sleep, right? Get sleep. Melissa, how are you supposed to get sleep? Your husband's up, your daughter's up, you have to clean still, you still have a household, you still have it's sleep when. I just remember better answers for caregivers. But really, I think the support that we can give each other as caregivers is the most important thing. And I think forgiveness is the most important thing because, man, we are not perfect, but we try to be. I think that will wrap up the show for today. Thank you so much, Melissa, for coming on with us. Thank you for all that you do for Help for HD and for especially the JHD community. And these moms are amazing. I love the relationship they have with each other. So I think that will wrap for today. You guys don't forget to this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for more notifications when shows like this come out. Till next time.